the Barrios Ugas fight?
No love for Elijah
Hey, I'll
Garcia.
give him love, but I'm just being honest. I was busy. I'm kind of
No
busy these days.
love for Elijah Garcia. But shout out to him, by the
Elijah,
way.
shout out to Elijah.
But let's talk about the main fights here. So Mario Barrios, Ugas, a lot of people saw this as a very hard fight to call. People weren't sure where to go with it. People left it out of their parlays when they bet. A lot of people bet Barrios by upset. Those that did, shout out to you. Um, Good win by Barrios. You know,
Yeah,
how did you see that performance, Christine?
actually, like I still am learning that I need to always go with my first thought, my first prediction, because you had asked me about this fight before, and I had said that Barrios was going to win. And then I was like looking at film and looking at this and blah blah blah, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to change my pick, and I'm gonna say Ugas. And then we saw what happened. So I need to always stick with my first thought, my first prediction. But you called it. You called it and didn't change.
Yeah, Fluffy Toasters, how's it going? How you doing? Good one by Ugas. I'm sorry, by Barrios. Ugas is corner. I like Ismail Salas, but I think I don't know what happened. He should have stopped that fight.
For
And
sure.
and I got to call out the ref as well, and most importantly, the ringside doctor. He was right there looking at the eye. Ugas clearly couldn't see the punches coming. His eye was shut. He took a lot of unnecessary damage, in my opinion. But what you think of that? Do you think they should have stopped it, or are you okay with it
Yeah,
going?
I do. I think so because whether your guy is young or old, you want him to live to see another day or fight another fight. I think that the doctor, the first time that he saw it, I mean, I believe maybe his orbital was broken. I mean, that's just the way it looked.
Yeah.
We know that it had been damaged before, by Spence. So I was really kind of surprised that the doctor let it go on, and then he asked the ref what he thought. Well, why would you ask the ref? You're the doctor. And then the ref said let it go, so the doctor agreed. So I was puzzled. I was. But then more importantly, the corner. They're supposed to be the ones to take care of you. So I was not happy with that.
Yeah, I think Ismail Salas has a very, I don't know if it's an old school mentality because he's praising who was out after the fight, saying you're a warrior, and I'm just thinking to myself, you should have stopped that fight, brother. Because look, there are times where you're gonna have to save a fighter from himself,
Absolutely.
and Ugas, it was clear to me he wanted to finish the fight on his feet for whatever reason that's important to him. I get it, right?
Right.
But as the corner, you should stop it. And look, maybe Ugas does get mad at him and he gets angry or whatever, but he'll get over it. You know what I mean? Like it's just what it is.
Yeah, and the thing is, the majority of fighters today, boxers today, that all they know is go, box, kill, like go and do what you got to do, win. So it's up to everyone around you, to kind of like tell you when you need to calm down or when it's time to throw in the towel. So that's
Yeah.
just my thoughts. What do you think the ruling should be? Do you think that when someone sees the doctor, it's pretty much meaning that the ref is concerned, so maybe it's time
Well,
to
this is the problem. Like the reason they have the doctor because they want an expert to look at it,
mm-hmm.
right? So I like the way they do it. The process was followed. It's just that I don't believe the doctor made the right choice.
Right, I
You
agree
know,
with you.
if the doctor's asking the ref, like, why are you asking the ref? It's like,
Right.
can you imagine that you're about to go for like surgery or something or a checkup with a doctor? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're there with a family member or somebody, and then they start asking them what they think. Like, I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Like, you're gonna
Or
be
they
like,
ask
wait,
the
what?
sec no, they ask the secretary first, then they ask your family.
Yeah, they're like, what do you think? Do you think nah, bro? Like it's why are you asking the ref for? That's very
Right.
concerning to me.
Right. Yeah. Very
And
concerning.
look, to a certain degree, I get it because like maybe these doctors feel like they're put on the spot, and it's like maybe they feel like everybody's looking at them like, oh, are they going to stop this fight? Or like what's going on here, right?
Well, they
But
take an oath too. They take an oath,
yeah,
on life, and so yeah.
yeah. Look, if you feel that person should not be fighting anymore, that eye looks grotesque and it's shut, right? then you need to stop it. It doesn't matter if the crowd gets mad, the fighter gets mad. What the fighter is saying shouldn't matter. All fighters are going to say, yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah. Like, they're going to say yes. You know what I mean? But I don't
Exactly.
know. I just personally didn't like it. Right. And maybe when it comes to eyes, it should be a specific test that they need to do and the fighter needs to pass. Right.
Yes.
Whether it's holding some fingers up at an angle while they cover the other eye or something needs to be done.
Yeah.
Right. And there has to be a witness to see if the fighter properly passed it.
Yeah,
Maybe there has
exactly.
to be a specific thing that they need to do. I'll say that.
I agree. Yeah, maybe so. I mean, something has to change. I didn't like that at all. I mean, thank God he was okay. I mean, as far as we know, he was okay. So,
He
you
looked
know.
out on his feet at the end of the fight.
Yeah, but sometimes things don't show right away. So I don't know. I mean, so far we know he's okay, and I'm glad.
And a lot of people were saying, hey, well, look, it's not like Mario Barrios is a big puncher. That's actually worse. That means he took more punishment.
Right. That means it was hit several times. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like if he was a
Yeah.
knockout artist, then maybe he knocks him out earlier and then he doesn't take all that punishment for the remainder of the fight. I mean, you got to
Exactly.
think about those things.
Yeah, people don't think about stuff like that. They just speak.
Let's get to my gripes. So that was one, by the way, that didn't stop that fight.
Okay.
Another one is this. I got to keep it real. I didn't like that Ramos Lubin fight.
Okay.
I didn't like the fight. I thought the crowd was booing. The energy went down. They're supposed to be basically setting the stage for the main event, and they just, the audience was dead. Where I watched the fight, everybody was bored. Most importantly, I don't think Ramos made the statement that he should have done, in my opinion. This is the pre-main of a major pay-per-view event. Will he ever get this opportunity to be in a limelight like this again? I don't know. But I don't think he gained any fans after that. I don't think Lubin gained any fans after that. I don't think either one of them did. I don't think either one's stock went up. If anything, their stock probably went down, especially Ramos. I think he coasted the second half of that fight. He lost the last four. I give the last four to Lubin. Which I still scored it for Ramos 7-5.
Okay.
But that fight should have never been close. And I think he forced it to be close, and he gave the opportunity for the judges to score it the other way. I don't like the scoring. It was very wide for Lubin, which is bizarre. I don't know one person that scored that for Lubin.
Yeah, I don't either.
Personally,
maybe there's a person standing up with the pink dress on that wouldn't sit down. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't notice that. That's crazy. But what did you make of the performance specifically of Ramos in that fight?
Okay, well, first of all, his last fight, we praised him. We thought he did a great job. I thought he did a great job. That was the first time that he had really gotten my attention. I had seen him before, but whatever. But now that then I saw his last fight, and I was just like, okay, this guy is going to be something. He's something. I was kind of playing. I don't know. In my mind, I was thinking, okay, he's young. He's what, 20 years older, right? He was listening to his coach, which I think is very mature, but sometimes the coach is not telling you the right thing. I forget what round it was when the coach said, I don't know if it was the 7th round or something. Seventh round, his coach said, you're up by like 6 or whatever.
You don't have to knock him out. Just relax.
Yeah. See, that was wrong instruction. First of all, you don't ever say that in a fight. I don't care if you are up 6. And then, so is Ramos so obedient and loyal to his coach that he took it and did exactly what he said? It could be good and bad, because you want somebody that's going to listen to the coach and take their advice and do what they say, but not when the advice is bad. But how do you know the advice is bad if you're 20 and you're on a big stage, undercard of one of the biggest fights, that's been around in the last 5-10 years. So
I think it's bigger than the win or the loss. Like it's. I could understand strategy, trying to win the fight. Even in that, I think they were wrong. But you're trying to do something bigger here. You're trying to win over the Saul Canelo Alvarez crowd.
Absolutely. Yes, to be the next Mexican face. Absolutely. I
and
totally get it.
that's what I'm saying. He didn't do that. He didn't accomplish that.
No, he didn't. But but I don't want to take anything away from Lubin. I want to congratulate him because I had actually thought Ramos was going to win, but I did buy a Lubin Lucha Libre t-shirt because I thought it was so cool. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. But I don't want to take anything away from him. Do I think that he looked
I don't think he won that fight though.
I would have it was so hard. I could have seen it being a draw. And would I have wanted to see it again? Maybe not on a big stage, maybe on,
Showbox.
well, maybe. Maybe on a Friday, I don't know, but I would have liked to see it again later on a different show, on a different card, just so that it would be clear, and maybe whatever lessons they learned from this fight, they could, fix whatever things that they didn't do that they should have done. And maybe
I gotta be honest, Christine. I don't think Lubin did anything different against Ramos than Charlo did against Canelo.
Oh gosh,
The only difference was that Canelo pressed more than Ramos did.
I agree that Canelo pressed more, but I think he looked 30% better than Charlo. Like, I mean, he was putting together some combinations at times.
Few and far between.
Yes, they were, but a lot more than Charlo. And so I would give him a higher score than Charlo. Absolutely. Did I think he looked fabulous? No. Was I totally impressed? No.
I agree with you on this. I think the corner was just giving him horrible advice. Last 3 rounds, even we're in the championship rounds, and they're telling him, "Oh, you're up by 6 rounds, 6, 7 rounds." Like,
yeah, that was bad.
Come on, I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
That was bad, but you know what? I think that he is young enough to recoup from this. I really do. I mean, I
guess what I'm saying is this. I think Lubin and Charlo fought at the same level. It's just that I think Ramos did a little better than Lubin, and Canelo's Canelo. Like you know what I mean? That's why you see that gap. I just don't think Lubin did any better than Charlo.
Well, I'll tell you what he did, because first of all, he had more confidence. He had more confidence, and I understand that he was not standing in front of Canelo. I get it. But Charlo had zero confidence. He looked like a deer caught in headlights, and we'll get to that. But I have to give him more credit than I gave Charlo, for sure. I saw some things. Was he excellent? No, but I saw some things. He put some combinations together. He was busy. He was at least being busy for the judges so that they would see that he was dominating, and his ring generalship was fairly good.
He wasn't dominating.
Except for him backing up.
But I have to be honest. I have a very hard time seeing Lubin win that fight. A very hard time. Like, I'm just saying, he did not win that fight.
I would have given it to Ramos, but I would have rather had a draw. But then I have to think, would I have given it to Ramos because that's who I was going for and that's who I had my eye on? I have to go back, because at the end when they said Lubin won, I wasn't upset or disappointed. I was like, well, I mean, Ramos didn't do enough. Ramos, he doesn't throw, he was setting up the body well. I thought he had a game plan because he kept touching the body.
Yeah, but then he stopped after round 7.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I gave him credit for, because it looked like he had a strategy that he was going to keep touching the body, and then there was going to be a knockout coming. But then he totally took his foot off the gas. So
this has to be a lesson to not just Ramos, but all fighters out there.
Yeah.
Don't assume you're up. Don't assume you're up by you're big. And there's nothing wrong with getting the knockout. If you could get the knockout, get it.
Right.
I just felt like he didn't fight his fight. And even if the judges would have given it to him, he was not going to leave that ring gaining any fans, which was the main objective. But he didn't do that.
I have to say, so Jesus, he said that Lubin was jabbing on it. He was. Ramos was not throwing jabs. He wasn't He was not throwing any jabs. And also Ramos was chasing and following Lubin all day. It's true he was not cutting the ring off at all. He was literally chasing him. And you know what? Maybe that's why his gas tank burnt out, because Lubin was on the go. He was on the move.
You
But he
saw
was
him
also
tired?
shooting punches. Huh?
I don't think he was tired.
I don't know. I don't know if
I honestly believe.
I don't know.
I honestly believe this. I honestly believe he was just coasting. I think he thought he had to fight one and just coasted the last 4 rounds. And that's what they were telling him to do. I think that's what he did.
Yeah. And my advice is, if your corner tells you you're up, you don't listen to that. You fight until the last bell. However many rounds you're going, you fight till the last bell.
Also, when he stopped
Anything can
pressuring, stopped
happen.
going to the body, when he stopped doing all those things, putting punches, he stopped throwing more than 2 punches at a time.
And he was
like,
missing punches.
The reality is this. Well, Lubin wasn't landing much either, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
He looked busier.
You know, like, I'm just going to put that out there. Lubin wasn't landing shit himself. Like, he just wasn't. Right?
He's so mad.
You know, but I'm just saying, but the thing is this. If what you're doing is working, right, and then you stop doing it, like, you're going to give your opponent confidence. Like, I feel like Lubin's confidence went up in the second half.
Absolutely.
Because he felt, hey, man, maybe he's discouraged. Maybe he's, even if those things aren't true, like he's feeling it. He's like, why you stop doing it for a reason? Right?
Your mental is very powerful. And he saw he couldn't fucking cut the ring off. He knew it. Anybody could see that a mile away.
Well, he was in front of it. Like, there was times where he was right in front of him,
bro,
but
he was chasing him, bro. He was chasing him. I'm telling you, he was not cutting him off.
I don't know if that was the issue. I'll be honest with you.
That was part of it. It was a few
because
things.
I guess, look, I didn't see that, to be honest. I didn't see a guy that I didn't see Lubin doing some that was frustrating Ramos, and Ramos couldn't cut off the ring.
He was on his bike and he was gone.
I just don't think that's what it was. I think maybe Lubin thought that, but I just think Ramos coasted. He had no problems getting to Lubin in the first half of the fight at all.
Yeah,
and he was ripping to the body.
Right, exactly.
And then he started doing it due to the instruction that it was given by his corner.
Right, exactly.
You know, so that's all I'm saying. Like, there was times where you're literally in front of Lubin, posturing and moving, but wasn't throwing.
After a while, he couldn't get to him, and he couldn't cut the
what
ring
I'm
off.
telling you is that he stopped going to him. Is what I'm telling you.
I get, well, I saw different. Like, I mean, I do agree with you as far as listening to his corner, but I think after a while he couldn't get to him. You know, I don't know. I think there needs to be a
rematch, and I think both guys actually, but especially Ramos, like, we need to see more. We need to see more activity. Don't take a foot off the gas, and obviously this time his corner's not going to tell him to relax and slow down or whatever.
We hope not. We hope they both learned some valuable.
They're not going to do that now. I mean, after the disaster that happened.
Hope not.
Right? This was a disaster. And most importantly, winning and losing a fight's one thing, but you didn't win the fans.
No, he didn't.
And that was the disastrous part.
Okay, but let me ask you, do you believe that they were booing because Ramos did not do good, or because Lubin won?
No, they were booing after each round in the last 3 rounds.
No, they started booing, but at the very end, they were really booing. Yes, they started booing.
Well, they booed the decision because if I'm honest, 95% of people out there scored it for Ramos.
So did they score it for Ramos because Canelo brings a huge Mexican fan base, and most of them were Mexican? Was that why they were booing, or because he didn't do anything, or what they thought he was going to do?
I think there was different booing going on at different times. I think they were booing because there was a boring ass fight in the last few rounds.
I agree with that.
Right. And then at the very end, they booed the decision because the right man didn't win, is why they booed it. To be quite frank.
I just wonder if the majority of people agree with you.
Majority of people do agree with me.
You think so?
100%.
Why?
Because most people believe Ramos won. That's what I'm seeing on social media.
But what I'm saying is why, like, how did he win? Especially when the second half, he just totally just like,
Well, you didn't score for Lubin. You
I mean,
said a draw.
I mean, I could see how they thought he won, and I would have rather seen a draw. And like I said, I think that I was being biased, because I wanted Ramos to win and I was cheering for him. So I have to really go back. I
I
don't usually
mean,
score fights. I just say who I think won or not, but I would like to go back and score it.
all I could say is this. The unofficial scoring of Showtime had Ramos up big. Abner Maris had him up big. Al Bernstein had him up big. These are all boxing minds, and they were all in shock.
You know what, though? But also there's a lot of times when we just can't listen to the commentators. I'm not saying in this case, but I guess it just depends on if they're speaking our language, because sometimes, they speak our language and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're very biased.
Of course, I've seen commentators get it wrong before, but I'm just kind of. Showtime also did a poll of the fans, and the majority of them had Ramos winning.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, so
you look at any poll, they're going to have Ramos.
He did say during the cast there was a vote and 70% agreed for Ramos. And then
so maybe it's not 90%, but still, like 70%.
And then Chicano Prophet said the fight is too boring to rescore.
Look, it wasn't a very pleasing fight. Like, is that a type of fight that's going to create a new boxing fan? Is that going to get people excited?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And I think, not that I want to give Lubin a pass or nothing, but it was on Ramos to make that fight, to make it a fight. Like that's 100%. It's the fight he wanted. It's the fight he wanted to be on the pre-main. He wanted to win over his fans. You got to bring it, and you got to put pressure, and you got to be relentless and go to the body and try to force Lubin into a firefight, which guys have successfully done before. But you got to keep pressuring him.
Yeah, right? Exactly. But I think, again, I don't think this is like the end all for Ramos.
It's not, because he's young, right?
Exactly, and he can learn from this, and not do it again. And Lubin, okay, he gets his little, time to roll around in glory, and then the next person.
So if you're Lubin, though, do you rematch Ramos? Or are you like, I want to fight? I don't know about Crawford, but let's say he wants to fight Crawford. Jermell, rematch.
If I'm Lubin, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look at contracts. I'm going to see who's offering the most money and what all I have to gain, and that's who I'm fighting.
What about a rematch with Fundora?
If the money's right, like I said, it would have to make sense.
This is what I want. I want Lubin to. People forget Lubin's been on the long road back ever since he got knocked out by Jermell.
Yeah.
Then he had to set back with Fundora. So he's okay, fine. He got this upset win. If he gets a shot at Tim Tszyu or something like that, or if Mendoza wins, I'm not going to complain, right? Let him have his shot, and then he can always rematch Ramos afterwards. I want to see Ramos in the ring with Fundora. Is what I want. And I think that's a fight that, if he wants to win over the Mexican fan base, and that's a fight that's going to force him to fight. Like Fundora's he makes you fight, because he'll take a lot of punishment to do it, but he'll make him fight. I think it'll be an exciting fight. I think Ramos wins that fight, but it's going to be forced to fight, right? And I think he could win over the crowd again. I think that's what I would like to see. What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but I think that the only way that he would rematch Ramos is his next fight being a loss. So no, I totally agree with you, though, and I think that he does need to gain the Mexican fans, because he is young, and if everything goes well as they are planning, I'm sure, then he is going to be the face. So a face, if not the face. So I agree with you, but I think the only way that Lubin would rematch Ramos is his next fight being a loss.
100%. Hey, by the way, shout out to the chat. Glad to have you guys here. Slight tendencies in the building. Jesus and Puerto Rican rum. Coach Amber, Jesus M, I think I already said. Shout out to all of you. Look, before we talk about the fight, in your opinion, did this pay-per-view deliver? Did this pay-per-view give the fans their money's worth, in your opinion?
You know, the main event is something that we wanted to see. Regardless of how it went,
Yeah.
that's something that I believe that is what we were paying for. So we never know how it's going to go, but we knew we wanted to see that matchup, and we were willing to pay for it, and that's why we did. So yes, I'm going to say that the fans paid for what they got, the people that were in the ring, they paid for that. So however it turned out, that's a whole different conversation.
Okay.
So yes, what about you? You want your money back?
I mean, I'm not going to ask for
you
the
can
money
get your
back,
money
but
back. You want it back?
if they give it back to me, I wouldn't complain. You know what I mean? I think
you
I'm
would.
just saying. But I just, these are the type of events that you just kind of want to move on. It's just the way it feels. You know what I mean? It wasn't a historic night. Let's just put it that way, right?
Okay,
It's
but
not
when
a
you say
night to
move on,
remember.
what do you mean? What do you
What is,
mean?
like, well, like it's not a night that like if like I remember when I was a little boy and my dad sat me down and the first fight I ever watched was Maldrick Taylor against Julio Cesar Chavez. And that fight was a war. And it's a classic. It's a fight that people still talk about to this day, right?
Yeah.
And then I remember being a little kid watching those Don King cards, and they were stacked, and you had all these title fights on the same card, and these back and forth matchups, competitive matchups, and I remember thinking like, man, these guys are warriors, and it made me a fan of the sport. Like, I didn't get that. Like, no little kid sat down that never watched boxing before and said, man, I'm hooked.
No,
I just don't think that happened.
absolutely
That's
not.
what I mean. That's exactly what I mean.
No, and boxing people are going to remember just the ridiculousness of Charlo and the that he can't ever be humble no matter what. That's what they're going to remember, and that they're glad he got beat up. But before we even like dive into the fight, I just want to say, like, I saw a lot of like negativity about Canelo's walk-in music, Por Mi Mexico, and I guess if anybody is familiar, with them, Santa Fe clan, I think it was Tornillo too, my daughter told me. But so the lead singer, Juan Salcedo, they used to call him, his nickname was Lefty. He just passed away in September.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it was some kind of tribute. That's what I'm thinking. And they are very popular. And
I saw people that they don't even know who these dudes were. Like, oh, why is he coming out with some mumble rappers?
Right.
They're not mumbling. They're talking in Spanish.
At all.
Okay.
And they're talking about their life in Mexico. Like, don't most rappers talk about their life? I think that's 99.99%. And to me, it was very disrespectful because, okay, so you're not Mexican, you don't get it. Maybe you're Puerto Rican or Dominican or Caucasian or African American or whatever, and you don't get it. That's fine. But Canelo is a Mexican boxer. And he has his reasons. So I thought it was very disrespectful. But I enjoyed it. I thought, man, that's badass.
Look, Canelo's come out to pop stars, mariachi. He's come out to now a rapper. You know what I mean? He came out to rock with Maná. I guess he likes everything, I guess. You know what I mean? But
yeah, good for him. He's the man. He can come out with whatever he wants.
That's right. He can come out to whatever music he wants to come out with. I like the entrance myself, actually. I was pleasantly surprised. I liked it. And hey, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think people were calling them mumble rappers because they didn't know who they were. And when they don't know who it is, they just assume it's a mumble rapper.
Yeah, exactly.
And since they don't, since a lot of them, most of the people saying that don't even speak like Spanish. So when they were rapping and they don't understand what they're saying, well, that's not because they're mumbling.
Right.
You know
It's
what I
because you
mean?
don't understand what they're saying.
Yeah, like I'm just saying. And it's a it's a very, in a way, patriotic song. You know what I mean? So
It is. It is. There's a comment. Al the pal. He was talking about drugs when he came out with Canelo. Okay, look.
so what?
Please, please, please show me rappers that don't talk about drugs, sex, alcohol, and all that stuff.
I mean,
So
it's part of the
we do
song,
it
because he just
too.
said marijuana y cocaína.
We
Like
do
it
it
is what it is.
too. Okay. It is what it is. Are you shocked? Are we shocked? Oh my God. He's talking about drugs. Oh my God. No, I'm not shocked. What?
Oh man.
Whatever.
But yeah, it was. I thought it was a good entrance, by the way. It's
It
my
was
opinion.
fabulous.
I
I
would
was on
say this
fire.
though. I gotta say this. Matchroom's entrance, Canelo's Matchroom entrances are still better. Like,
Oh, the mariachis and
yeah,
all the
like all
different
that.
stuff.
Like I just did the pageantry and the just everything. It's just better.
And you know what? Exactly. That's memorable. It's legendary. And he can do whatever he wants to do. If he wants to have some opera singer come out next time, or some symphony or whatever, he can do that. He can do whatever he wants. So you know what? Kudos to him. Kudos for being his own boss, his own man, and doing what the heck he wants to do. Kudos.
That's right.
Um,
Charlo. Let's talk about Charlo. So
let's talk.
Charlo comes out mean mugging right to the ring. He's like, he's walking out.
He had a badass robe, though. I will say that.
I mean, something had to be badass, right?
That was
So,
badass. I like that.
so he comes out. What happened to the lion? Remember, he used to have the lion thing, and he didn't want to wear no lion gear this time. But
Good thing.
I'm expecting like a lion, like I'm expecting
Yeah.
Mufasa. You know what I mean? I'm expecting
Right.
but we got like the cowardly scar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what we got. Like it is what it is. Now look, I don't want to be too harsh. And at the end of the day, these guys go in there, they put their lives on the line, et cetera, et cetera. But
Right.
this comes with territory. Critique when you're fighting at a high level. It's
Absolutely.
part of it. That's why you guys are making millions of dollars. That's why you're making
That's right.
riches. That's why you have all that. And fans critiquing you. It's just
Mhm.
part of the game. It comes with it, right? Because we're the ones making you those millions. So
Absolutely.
I gotta say that I am highly disappointed in Charlo. I honestly felt that he was gonna bring it. Like I thought that. Look, it's one thing if you're boxing and you're winning, that's one thing,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? But if you're losing every round,
Every
maybe you
round.
should maybe you should stop that game. Maybe that game plan ain't working out. Like maybe you should stop trying to outbox Canelo because you're not outboxing him, right?
Okay. Your keyword game plan. So what was the game plan? And was
I
there, we
don't
talked
know.
about this before. Was there a plan B, C? Hello?
I'm gonna be honest with you, and maybe this is harsh. I don't think, like, how can I say it? I don't think they train to win. I think they train to go the distance. That's it. Like he just wanted to go 12 and say he didn't get knocked out like he did in the post fight.
That was despicable.
I just had to get knocked out.
Despicable. If that's all you came to do, to not do, is to get knocked out, that is despicable. And you know what? You screwed the fans over, because yes, we did pay a lot of money for the pay-per-view and to fill up seats, the people that were there, and at least you didn't get knocked out. So you did enough just to not get knocked out. Please don't say that.
I was so disappointed while I'm watching that fight. If he was trying to be the outboxer and counter, it wasn't working.
At
So
all.
he should have abandoned that immediately. Like I just don't understand why he kept trying to do that. And
At some point, like we were talking about Ramos, at some point you have to press on the gas. Look, you put on this extra weight, okay, because you wanted to, I guess, out muscle, bully, whatever, Canelo. Well, what did you do with that weight? Nothing. You
he
got to take
said
some
he said he
chances.
wished he gained more. He said
For what? For
I
what?
guess he
To
thought it
look
would make a
better in his
difference, I
short?
guess.
Yeah, look better in his robe. Like why? And the thing is this. It is a scary thing to get in the ring. It is. And I respect anybody who steps in the ring, that gets punched in the face for a living. But this is the thing. You get the biggest stage, the biggest opportunity of your life, and you're not going to, at least for 1 or 2 rounds, press the gas and go toe to toe a little bit and kind of bully the person in front of you. You're just going to get on your bike and ride all night and hope to God you don't get knocked out, so that at the end you can say, at least I didn't get knocked out. I think
So disappointing.
it
This
is.
whole I I think it was like round 2, like that early. I
Yeah.
said, "Yo," I was looking at my cousin. I was watching the fight at my uncle's house. This dude ain't gonna fight. Like
Mhm.
this dude did not come to fight. He just didn't. He and look, don't get me wrong. Like it's worth a shot to box to see if you could frustrate
Sure.
Canelo, and then
Right.
it's worth a
Exactly.
try. But okay, after like round 4, like if you're down and Canelo's boxing you, maybe you should do something else. Maybe you should fight the way you were fighting 154, right?
And maybe your corner should give you some different options of things that you can do.
Well, he was
You
just
know,
scolding them and telling them, "What are you doing?" And
and the thing is that I had made a prediction
Mhm.
on I don't know if it was your show or my show, I don't know, or round table, I don't know. And I made a prediction that I believed that Charlo would be dropped once.
Yeah, right here, this show.
Yeah, and on this show, and then it would go the decision, but it would go to Canelo. So the reason why I said that was because I was giving Charlo a lot more credit. First of all, he was putting on weight, which I thought was stupid. But I said, okay, he's going to be a little bit bulkier. Maybe he could push him around for a second just to test Canelo and see where his power is, and if he could maybe trade with him for a second. And that's where I thought he'd get dropped. Okay, well, after that, after the first time being dropped, I was like, he's going to go back to his corner. They're going to go to plan B. They're going to go to plan C. And then it's going to be closer, but Canelo's going to get the win. Not only because he'll have more rounds, but because of him dropping Charlo. Well, he was dropped once. It did go to the scorecards, but it was trash. He didn't change. He didn't do anything. He didn't press the gas. He didn't test Canelo at all, just to see where he was at on his power, or if he could even muscle him. He didn't. He was just moving, running, and afraid to throw anything.
He was just, I mean, he was feeling those shots. He took a knee. I think it was in the 7th. Canelo landed some hellacious shots on him. He's like, okay, let me take a break here, which I think was smart. Don't get me wrong. But then he actually, Christine, ended that round strong.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, hey, maybe Charlo's going to fight back here. We're going to get a good fight here. And then he just goes back to doing
Right.
what he was doing.
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
like, your best moments was when you were fighting back, bro. Now,
Yeah.
granted, if he fought back, two things would have happened. He would have had better moments. All right. He might have won a round or 2,
Mhm.
but he would have been knocked out.
Yeah.
Like that's what would have happened.
Probably. Maybe, probably so.
So people would have had more
Because
respect for him after
after the
fight.
fight, there can't be any woulda, shoulda, couldas. It's too late. You got to leave everything in the ring right then. If that's what your job is, and you're getting paid these big bucks, you give everything, everything. Steven 4722 said some people trying to blame Derrick James, but you can't train a fighter to want to win. Now, I agree with you that you cannot train a fighter to want to win, but you take a boxer and you expound upon all of his talents, and whatever he's lacking, you hide or try to like bring up a little bit. And if you know your fighter can't do certain things, you have him do other things. There has to always be different tools to use, different plans. There has to be something. It can't just be like, this is what we're gonna do, that's it, and then everybody's cookie cutter. One thing that Derrick James has been criticized about is that he wants everyone to fight like Errol Spence. And I've heard it many times. I've seen what they're talking about at times, and that is not reality because everybody's different. So
Well,
no, you
Charlo
can't.
didn't fight like Errol Spence in this fight.
No,
I
he
wish he
didn't.
did.
No, he didn't. Well, I mean, he would have had the high guard and went forward, you know, and he probably would have gotten knocked out. But the thing is, no, you cannot train a boxer to win it. And so then again, I blame Charlo because you're talking all this shit, how you're gonna do this and that, and he's never been in a ring with somebody like him. Canelo has never been in the ring. No, he hasn't. He has never been in the ring with anybody like you. You're absolutely right. That he just totally wiped. You're right.
Canelo won every round on my scorecard. Did he give Charlo a round?
Absolutely. I did not give him one round. No.
Did you see? I know you did, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Did you see Crawford's tweet about he allowed Canelo to spank him all night,
Yeah,
and that
I
he's
did.
no longer in the running? He said, like I don't want to fight him no more.
Oh my God. He totally like it was so funny. I mean, Twitter was just on fire and you know, Bud was tweeting back to back, and I thought it was fabulous.
So, yeah.
But let me ask you this. So
Yeah.
first, Ryan walks in there with his shades, you know, looking all cool and stuff, like somebody from the 80s, you know, or 90s. And then towards the end of the fight, I mean, his sunglasses were off and you could just see his face. What do you think he was thinking?
I don't know.
You don't know? You have no, you don't have any idea what you think he was thinking? I'm thinking like, what the hell did I sign up for?
Like,
Like, did I
Oh, you
pick the
mean
wrong
like
coach?
I see what you mean, like that meme, like, and this is the moment he knew he fucked up, like that kind of thing.
Right.
I'll tell you where I think it was round 8. Charlo landed a beautiful right hand on Canelo. It was like a nice on the
and
money,
he ate that.
and Canelo ate it,
Ate it.
and then Canelo like put his guard down, even his shoulders, like he put them down, gave him a look. And he started walking towards him, like where are you going? Like what? You know, you finally like, and I in my head, I'm like, I could picture Canelo's in his head.
Oh shit!
I could
Yeah,
picture Canelo going like this. That's it, motherfucker.
that's it. That's all you got, baby.
8 rounds, motherfucker, to land that
Gatito.
bullshit.
That's all you got, gatito. That's it.
Like Canelo, like he's eating tacos with salsa that hit him more than that. Hit him more than that. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Like first of all, Canelo has a chin. We all know that, right?
Yes, he
But
does.
Charlo was like, yeah, I ain't gonna do shit to this guy. I'm out.
At all, and that's intimidating mentally.
It is, but like I thought it was Lions only. I thought he was gonna like put it on the line. Like he was different. He was gonna go for it.
Yeah, yeah.
He didn't go for it.
But you know, and we talked about this before too on the show before. You know, like how much pressure does Charlo have because you know his coach. I mean, they just lost, you know, against Crawford with Errol Spence. How much pressure does he have from his coach and himself and everybody, all the fans of Errol Spence, that he had to win this fight? Like going into the ring with that kind of pressure as well could be overwhelming, you know. And then at the time, he wasn't speaking to his brother; they were beefing, and then his brother shows up. Well, that also could have been something too, because we haven't talked. We have we, you know, and surprise, I'm here. You know, was he surprised I'm here because he wants to support his brother, or surprised I'm here because you know I need to be in front of the camera? So that's a lot of stuff to deal with, and I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but do you think any of that affected him?
I would have thought his brother being there would have maybe made him like, hey, my brother's sure to support me. My brother, like, you know what I mean? I thought maybe that would be the case, but I don't even know the status of the relationship because Jermell's over there taking like he's the biggest fan of Terence Crawford, like taking pictures with him. And
Oh my gosh, what about that?
like I'm like,
about
what do you
that?
like? So I'm just saying, and different energy, Christine. See, when
He was cheesing
Crawford was fighting
hard.
Spence, he was looking at Jermell like what's up, and grabbing his
Yeah.
crotch and saying you ain't shit, right? And then but Jermell wouldn't even like. He was just kind of like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, he was.
Like is the round over yet? You know.
He could not wait to get out of that ring. He could not wait to
Couldn't
get
wait.
out of the ring.
So let's talk about what it says there. So did he really call out Bud? Like was he able to land the plane? I'll tell you what happened where I saw the fight. So he's talking, right? At first he says Eddie said he get knocked out. And then they asked him about Tim Tszyu, and he kind of tippy-toed around that. And he's like, "Oh, I'll fight Bud. Yo, where are you at? I know he's here." And I'm just like, everybody there was like,
Like really, dude?
like we don't
Nobody
see
wants
you
to
fight.
see that. Nobody wants to
mean-
see you get demolished again, but like probably knocked out.
Look, first of all, can he even make 154 comfortably anymore? I don't know.
Probably not. No.
But especially after putting on the weight, it's kind of hard to go back down after you put on weight. Right?
Absolutely.
So I just don't know what's going to happen with that. But maybe Crawford fights him at 160. Maybe I don't know.
Why would Crawford even want to fight him? For what?
I don't know. But
Maybe in the parking lot.
I don't know. A wrestling match in the parking lot.
I mean, hey, World Star, let's go.
But
for what?
what was your reaction? What was your real time reaction when he called him out?
I was like disgusted. Like I wanted to like, are you effing kidding me? Like what? Who would want to see that? Who? Like why? No, there's no reason for it. What is there to gain for Crawford? For what? What is there to gain? Nothing. Except maybe some satisfaction in beating his ass. But that's about it. There's nothing to gain. For what? No. Move on. He's got to move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I didn't hear or not. Did you hear like somebody had posted a picture of Canelo and then said that Canelo said that Bud is not on the table. He's not an option. Did you hear anything about that, or did anyone hear anything about that?
What he said was he'll do any fight if it makes sense, but Bud is not in the plan.
Okay.
That's not part of the plan, he said.
Okay.
Which tells me before he signed, they already talked about what fighters he's going to fight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because I'm sure they have a 2-fight, 3-fight, 4-fight, deal. Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
What does Jermell have to do to quote unquote earn a Bud fight to get his respect back, to get his mojo back, to get his lying card back? You know what I mean? To
The only thing he could have done was beat Canelo. But who can he fight now? Who can he fight that you want to see? Like, who would you be like really on fire?
Tim Tszyu.
Tim Tszyu. Okay. Okay. Sure.
But like he doesn't want to fight Tim Tszyu. You can just tell.
Can you blame him?
I mean, well, what do you mean by that? Like, you mean like
I think that Tim Tszyu would also annihilate him.
I think Tim Tszyu would beat him, but Tim Tszyu doesn't bring him the paycheck that a Bud or Canelo.
No, absolutely not. But he has to get back in his good graces, in the boxing people's good graces, in the fans. He's got to do something.
Look, what's weird is that he got a lot of short-term gain by fighting Canelo payday-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, I think he's going to have a hard time getting big paydays moving forward.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. You know what? I dare say this. He is going to be a gatekeeper from here on out. I'm telling you.
You think so?
Yes, because look, people are going to start looking at him and be like, oh my God, I can beat him. They were already saying that with his previous loss. They were already saying that. So I just think mentally he's not in a good space. And I think that his trainer is not the best for him. I'm not saying his trainer's not the best, but he's not the best for him because he needs more than one plan. And we've seen that in many of his fights. So I dare say that. I mean, but look, I'm sticking to it.
Jermell is really good at rematches. He's not going to get one with Canelo. I'll say that right now.
Right.
But he's really good at rematches. And I think the reason for that is because they always go back to the drawing board, right? But for whatever reason, he can't he just can't make an adjustment in real time in a fight. Like
No,
he doesn't.
no. The
He
reason
lost.
the reason why he beat Harrison the second fight, which I mean, if it would have gone to the scorecards, he was down
Yeah,
because he got careless and started to get too confident and cocky,
yeah.
and that's why he got caught. Or
Also,
else,
Harrison has a very sus chin, right?
absolutely, that's why he got caught. Exactly.
Like
That's
like if
what I'm
that was
saying.
Harrison in round 8, where he caught Canelo with a right, he probably knocks out Harrison with that right hand, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Canelo just ate it like it's
I agree. I
a
agree. But
Mexican
this is
candy. You know what I mean? Like,
right. But this is not Battle of the Chins. I'm just saying that he would have lost that second fight. Yes, it's boxing. So yes, he
yeah.
got caught and that was it. But he's not showing us that who he says he is. He's not showing us that. His actions do not match his words.
What what happened to the lion, Christine? I just wonder where the lion's at. Like the lion didn't show up.
It's a great mascot. It's very powerful. It's like, oh my gosh, he's a
I was
lion.
expecting a roar. I
But
was
if
expecting a
you're gonna
roar.
wear a lion, you better be a lion. You know?
Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. If he came out and he fought, and he was gonna get knocked out if he fought that way. But
Yeah.
I just think, in all seriousness, like I think the fans would have been forgiving of him losing because he came to fight.
Exactly. And you know how else they would have been forgiving?
Yeah.
If he would have gotten on that mic with humble pie in between his teeth. But he just cannot
But
do it.
Canelo's a beast, though. He's an ox. He's the best.
And say, you know what? I fought the best. I give him all the respect. I thought this and that. And you know what? Kudos to freaking, Bud Crawford. I'm gonna go back and talk to my people and we're gonna change some things and see what's next for me. I appreciate everybody who came out and paid for this fight and everybody who bought it on pay-per-view. Where's the humility? Where's it at? At least I didn't get knocked out. What?
If they offer Crawford the right money, will he fight Jermell?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Well, money talks, right?
I mean, to some people, he's a businessman. It's not like he's just depending on the next fight for his paycheck. He's got his hands everywhere, and he's made some money. But I can't speak for him. I can't say what he would or wouldn't do. But if they fought, obviously I'm a huge Bud fan, so I would pay to watch Charlo beat up
It's like
again.
this, Christine. I saw John Ryder get knocked down by Canelo. He looked hurt.
Yeah.
He got back up.
Yeah. And people criticize John
Yeah,
Ryder,
like
by the
John
way.
Ryder got back up. He survived the round. Don't get me wrong. He made sure he
Yeah.
survived that round, but then he came out and he fought his heart out in that fight. And he was
Yeah.
trying to win. Didn't have a shot in hell, but he was trying.
Exactly. Right? And that's why we respect him.
Yeah. Like
Exactly.
people want to see effort. There was no effort here. Look,
No.
people could say whatever they want about Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
He was trying to win when he was in the ring with Canelo.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Like he wants him. I give him rounds. I give him a good amount of rounds. So like he tried. The key word is try.
Exactly.
Right?
Give the fans what they want. Look, you are in the hurt business. You are in the entertainment business. Okay. Give the fans what they want because they're the ones that are paying your paycheck. They're the ones that, give you the money you need to do what you want to do. So it's like give the fans what they want. I don't know. It was very disappointing to me.
How does Canelo versus Benavidez Cinco de Mayo weekend? It's next. It's going to be on the 5th of May, by the way, on Saturday.
Well, hey,
doesn't
Benavidez got to beat Andrade first?
Oh, yeah, it's going to beat Andrade.
Okay.
You think different?
No, you know what? I honestly think Andrade is kind of boring. I'm just going to be honest. But I like that matchup because they have two such different styles. Andrade is more of a boxer. He's long, and Benavidez, he is a monster. He does come forward. He can box a little bit, but I think he's more Mexican style. Let's go. So I'm curious. How that fight's gonna go. Do I believe that if Andrade gets touched, he's gonna get knocked out? I do. Do I believe that maybe Benavidez would get frustrated if Andrade stays on his bike and he can avoid his shots and he can change directions and Benavidez is not able to cut him off? I think that I think it's gonna be a good matchup. I do. I'm
I
not ready to predict
think
yet.
he makes easier work of him than he did Plant.
You think so?
Yes.
Well, I guess it also depends on the gas tank.
I believe in this. I believe steel sharpens steel. And,
Uh-huh.
and Andrade has not been sharpening with steel in the last like 6-7 years.
Well, you do have a point there. He has not been in the ring. He hasn't done anything, and he
Like
hasn't fought
go
anybody.
look at all of Andrade's opponents in the last
You're
like
right.
6-7 years.
No, you have a good point. I didn't think
And
about that.
I'm not saying look at the names. That doesn't tell you everything. Look at the odds.
Yeah.
This guy was like a 2,500 favorite, 1,500 favorite. Like these are
Right.
ridiculously long odds. Those are the
Right.
type of guys he was fighting. He didn't take advantage of a Zach Parker fight, which would have, if he won that fight, it would have made him number one. He would have made him a mandatory to fight Canelo instead. Zach Ryder, not Zach, John Ryder took that fight. John Ryder won that fight. That's why John Ryder got the Canelo fight. So,
no, you're right. You're right. I'm laughing at the GOAT Mario P. Andrade has been in there and he's just fought bums. That's funny. You're right. Boxiana Dominguez, thank you for that. Boxing Pound for Pound Jack. Appreciate you tuning into North London. Thank you. You're right. You know what? You're right. You're right. You're right. I mean, and
I mean, look, if he can't beat Andrade, then all right, you lost the Canelo sweepstakes.
build up. Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
Like, I mean, he's got to win that fight. Like, I'm just saying. But assuming he wins that fight, I just think that's the fight to make. Canelo, Benavidez, number one, number two in the division. Let's go. That's what I want to see.
And it would be battle of the bands too. Like, who would they both walk into?
Well,
like,
like who would Benavidez walk out with? Like,
yeah,
I don't even know what he listens to be honest.
I don't either. But I mean, did we know that Canelo had such different, tastes?
Yeah, I mean, shit. So, if I was Canelo, I'd be charging these bands to walk out of the ring with me. And I'm just saying.
I mean, he might.
He might, right?
It's in a lottery. It's like, if I pick your number, you're it.
Yeah. Because look, I'm sure that song got a lot of downloads this week. Just because Canelo walked out with that song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I want to see that fight. That's the number one fight to me. I don't want to see.
I want to see it too.
Let me tell you what I don't want to see. I don't want to. I don't want some stupid storyline that Jermell's going to avenge his little brother.
No.
So that's the fight. I don't want to see that. Okay. Please spare me. Please, I do not want to see Jermell fight. I'm sorry.
No. And when's the last time he fought anyway? Has he
maybe look, maybe down the line, but he needs to come back. He needs to win some fights. He's been out of the ring for over 2 years.
Yeah.
That's a retirement. Like, I'm just saying, like, and then I mean, there's some other fights like that they might make. I heard the Munguia name being put out there. I don't want to see that fight.
No, Munguia. I mean, at the time that Munguia was coming up, I was really thinking he was going to do something. I was really, when he first came and he was on the scene, absolutely. I thought he was going to be the guy.
Okay.
And I mean, I always criticized.
You thought it was that dude, huh?
I thought he was that dude. Same with Zurdo too. I thought he was that dude. But they showed us differently. So David Benavidez it is, and Canelo right now, absolutely. North London says Canelo has a 3-fight PBC contract, 2 more fights to go. Then Canelo returns to Eddie Hearn and UK boxers to try to win against him.
I mean, I don't know. I think he's kind of run through Eddie's stable. That's why he's not with Eddie anymore. But Eddie doesn't. I mean, look. Eddie's got Pacheco ain't ready right now. Like he ain't ready for Canelo. Like that's just he's got Bivol, but I mean, does Canelo want to go back up to 175 to fight Bivol? Does he?
His Mexican pride might tell him yes, but
Doesn't it
his
feel
people
good?
tell him no.
What do you just rather say at 168? Just be the king and just beat
I
everybody?
mean, you would think, but like I said, that Mexican pride sometimes gets the better of us.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
So,
look, he's got the competitive. I don't get on guys when they want a rematch. You know, I understand. You know what I mean? But
I mean, I understand too, but
uh,
and then I don't get on him for not winning it either.
but I want to see that Benavidez fight. I think that's a great fight. I want to see after Benavidez, if Crawford wants to have a swan song and wants to do one big mega fight, then they
Yeah.
could do that. But I think Canelo needs to see Benavidez first. Because look, if he fights Crawford, he's gonna get a lot. Like he's gonna get a lot of shit for fighting Crawford
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not fighting Benavidez. It's gonna happen. But if he gets the Benavidez fight out of the way, then it's kind of hard to argue against him doing whatever he wants to do at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. You're right. I have so there's like two more things I want to ask you about. So
Sure.
first thing, there was a lot of criticism by some people that were saying that Derrick James, he's being exposed and blah blah blah, and that others like, oh my gosh, it's not his fault, it's the boxer's fault. What are your thoughts? Like, what were your thoughts after this fight and after the Spence fight? Is Derrick James not who people thought he was, or are his boxers? Well, I don't know. What do you think?
Let me give you my general answer, then I'll answer your specific question.
Okay.
In general, I feel trainers get way too much praise and credit when their fighters are winning, and they
Uh-huh.
get way too much criticism when their fighters lose. Right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I do think the bulk of everything should land on the fighter. That's my opinion.
Right.
But in Derrick James's case, I do think he has a very hard line philosophy. We're going to have a game plan,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna believe in his game plan. And I believe the philosophy maybe is I'm not there or nothing, but based off of the way his fighters approach fights, it's I don't got time to think about what if it doesn't work, because then that means I don't believe in the strategy. So we're going to believe in the strategy and we're going to make it work, right? The problem with that is that when it doesn't work
Mm-hmm.
and you don't have a plan B, then what, right? I understand the concept of believing what you're doing, believing your system, right? Like live and die by it, because that's going to make it more effective. I get it, but you still need a plan B. Like you still need
Absolutely.
you still need a contingency plan.
Absolutely.
And at least in fights I've seen, I haven't seen it. Right? It doesn't mean that
Right.
they don't do it. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah, same.
Perhaps that's why Charlo's so good at rematches, because they make the proper adjustments and then they go and they win the rematch, right? Like
Yeah, well, the only
Castano, it was
problem is there's not always going to be a rematch.
100%. But I think that's what it is, right?
Okay.
And I'll tell you a big difference. There's levels to boxing.
Mm-hmm.
A fighter of Canelo's level, right,
Mm-hmm.
is here's the difference between a guy like Charlo and Canelo, and this is where levels come in boxing.
Yeah.
A fighter like Charlo makes an adjustment from one fight to the other.
Yeah.
A fighter like Canelo, a fighter like Bud Crawford, can make an adjustment from one round
My
to the
God.
other.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the big difference between those two fighters.
Big
right?
difference.
Dare I say Crawford can make adjustments in the same round, right?
Absolutely.
So that makes it even more dangerous. But that's what I believe, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the main thing. That they had a game plan. They were
Mhm.
working with Juan Guzman. I think they wanted to box. It's worked against Canelo before. That's what people say is the winning formula against Canelo. The problem is,
And you're talking about Bivol, right?
I'm saying
And Mayweather. So it's worked before.
yes.
Yes. The only difference is that they were both freaking dogs as well. It's like they were gonna box and they were going to also be in his face and didn't respect him or give a shit about what he'd done previous. You
Like
know, obviously Canelo was a lot younger, and I'm not taking anything away from Mayweather at all. He was younger, you know, and he was just discovering who he was and what he had. I give him props. But with Bivol, he didn't give a shit about who Canelo was. He didn't care. He was like, I'm going to beat you. Like, and he knew he was going to beat him. They adjusted, they knew what they had to do, and they did it.
that
And
that that's also Mayweather's and Bivol's style. That's how they fight.
it is. And
So
I see what you're saying. So Charlo is not always a
like
boxer.
that's
I
their
got
main
you. I
way.
got you. I got
Like
you.
Charlo was trying to mimic
Yeah.
what guys that had, even like Lara, he was trying to mimic the things that fighters that had success against Canelo, right? He's trying to mimic that.
I got you. I got what
And
you're
it's
saying.
like you can't do that in a game. First of all, you can't do it when you're doing two things:
No.
moving up to weight classes, right?
Right.
Number
Right.
one, putting
Right.
on weight, right? And then
Right.
you're trying to change your style on top of that,
Absolutely.
right? Like it's. I'm not saying it wasn't worth a shot, but maybe you should have fought. What got you to the dance is the way you should have fought, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely. I
you
agree
know,
with you
but
on that.
because I'm telling you right now, Christine, if you would have fought him, he would have got knocked out. But I think people would have had more respect for him.
Yes.
But I know what people would be saying right now. They would have been saying, "Oh, what he should have boxed him." You know,
But let me tell
yeah,
you this too. So he tried something that he hadn't tried before and it didn't work. Well, anytime that a boxer is trying something new, but they're in panic mode, they're in they have anxiety and all this other stuff, they always revert back to who they were and to what they knew before. And so I believe there was no, he wasn't doing either. He wasn't boxing him, or did he revert to that lion that he is? He was just trying to survive and not
look,
get knocked out, like he
I,
said at the end.
look. I just want to say this in defense of Derrick James. So just to play devil's advocate a little bit,
Absolutely.
like sometimes in life, there's people just step out of boxing for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like entrepreneurs sometimes don't have a backup plan, right? So they have this tunnel vision and they're like, this is going to work. Like what
Yeah.
the business I'm trying to set up, it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if you ask me, what if it doesn't work? I'm not even thinking about it if it doesn't work. If I start thinking like that, it's not going to work. So they try to manifest, right, what they have in mind, and they believe in it and they work at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I do think that is the mentality that goes into a Derrick James training camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a system, they have a plan, and that plan's going to work. Like that's how they see it, right?
Yeah.
And when it works, it looks like he looks like a genius, right? When it doesn't work, then people criticize him. But I mean, I just think hopefully from
I
here.
get what you're saying.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. But in any job, you have what you need for your job.
Yeah.
If I'm I don't know, fucking plumber, and I have my tools that I use to fix a sink, but there's some strange shit, and I need something else, you're gonna have to pull out something else from maybe a different toolbox. It's like a trainer, coach, I like coach better, but trainer, coach, whatever you want to call it, has a responsibility to give their boxers every tool necessary to fix whatever problem they're going to face. Every tool. They may not use all the tools all the time, but they need to at least have a variety of tools, because nobody is the same that stands in front of you. People also criticized, and people know I'm a big ass Bud Crawford fan, and I'm not ashamed of it. He has 3 coaches. Okay. Those are 6 pair of eyes. They can see different things. So one coach sees this and gives them this toolbox. The second one gives them another. The other one gives them another. And we've seen how it works. We've seen how the after 2 or 3 rounds, Bud can adjust to anything, anyone, anytime, anyhow. Okay. So my point is this: sometimes you need somebody else in there. Sometimes you need to take advice from somebody else. I know certain personalities I'm the man. I'm the one. I'm the greatest. I don't need to change nothing because all I do is win. Well, until you don't win anymore. And then what?
Okay. Well, look, I think, if I do think this, I think it's okay to have a plan B. A plan B doesn't mean you don't believe plan A is not going to work.
Absolutely not.
Um, it just means in
Right.
case it doesn't work, right?
Right.
We're going to try this instead, right?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
but for whatever reason, I haven't seen that.
No.
Whenever Derrick James fighter is losing, for what I just haven't seen it.
No, and we
Um,
don't hear it in the corner. And I love to listen to the corners to see what the instructions are. We haven't heard it. But I wish them the best. I do. Because I'm sure that at this time in their lives right now, especially Derek, it's a very tough time because it's hard to be up on the top of the mountain. I've never been there personally. I can only imagine. And then the next moment you're not. You're at the
yeah, but you
bottom
know
or
who
you're
was there
halfway.
though? Reynoso was right there with him last year,
Right.
right?
Right.
Reynoso had a rough year last year. Like
Same.
like
Same.
like his fighters were getting, like, not only were they were getting beat down.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Chocolatito beat up what's his name again? His name escaped my head. The chat
Yeah.
could remind me. Like Chocolatito beat up one of his fighters, right?
Yeah.
And then Canelo gets outboxed by Bivol.
Right.
Canelo doesn't look that good against Triple G, but in hindsight, Triple G did better than Charlo, by the way. But that's not here or there.
Right.
And right, like, I think he lost Ryan Garcia. Garcia left. Um, Valdez got outboxed. He didn't win a round against Shakur.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of that, like man, Reynoso, is he overrated? Is he this? Is he that? And right now, Derrick James is going through that same
Benavidez.
thing. Yeah, and then of course this year it
He's the
happened with
herbal.
Navarrete for sure. But it's it's rough out there, right, for
It
these
is rough
trainers.
out there. It's
You know,
very emotional. That's what, I mean, I'm no saint, I'm no angel, but it's very hard. I cannot personally attack, coaches, and their family or boxers because this game that we love and that we support is so emotional. Like we say, one day you're king of the hill and the next day you're not. And then they have to go home and deal with depression and anxiety and all these other things, and the fans just continue on to the next shiny toy. So I get it, and I do feel for them because I know
well,
right now is a very, very tough time.
by the way, it was Julio Cesar Martinez. That's who he. That was
Yeah,
Reynoso's fighter that got outboxed, and
absolutely.
it just wasn't working out. Ironically, both Reynoso and Derrick James have their fighters fight with that high guard, and fighters were kind of exposing it a little bit.
Yeah, yes, that high guard
So,
going forward, that's old school. It's very old school, and you know what, at the time it worked. Well, times have changed.
well, the thing that Canelo does different is that he has an active guard. You know what I mean? So
Oh, Canelo does so many things different. His feints. I was talking about his feints
yeah,
Saturday. He's the fucking master at feints. He'll
yeah.
feint. He'll feint a right hook, throw a left hook, and he'll feint. A jab and throw an uppercut. Like he's freaking amazing. And I think more guys need to feint. Like that. That's just I mean, it's gold.
Yeah,
I'm
you
telling you.
have to. I think giving different looks is always a good thing.
Absolutely. And the thing is, you're setting traps. You're the puppet master. Get the guy in front of you to do what you want him to do. You know?
Exactly.
And if they're a counter puncher, counter the counter, throw a feint, make him throw, and then you come back. There's so many tricks. But if you're not willing, and I'm not saying that I know who's willing and who's not, but if you're not willing to say, you know what, I don't know everything, and you learn every single day, and grow and grow and grow and bring people that can help you grow and y'all grow together,
Right.
then you're winning. But whenever you're done learning or you know everything, it's time to like hang it up. Go jump in the dirt because you're done.
Oh, shout out to Stephen JC, the
Yeah.
GOAT, Mario P, Boxiana, the Menace, Pound for Pound Jack, the Boxing Historian Tool 6, and whoever I'm forgetting, I apologize. But shout out to
Yeah.
all of you, Stephen. Shout out for you, to you. That is, Christine.
Hold on. I got one more.
Okay, go ahead.
And then you finish it up. We got
Go
one
ahead.
more.
Of course, go ahead.
PBC is getting a lot of criticism right now. A lot of criticism.
PBC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. They're talking about, you know, that their boxers are getting exposed and this and that and blah blah. Have you not seen it?
Of course, yeah, I seen it.
And so first of all, my thoughts are this. So they're giving us matchups that we want to see. You know, some we may prefer over the others. Secondly, this is a business. Okay. Yes, the fans are important because they got to buy the tickets. But whatever makes the most money and makes the most sense is obviously what they're going to target. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And we all have a job, right? We all have jobs that we go to every day, probably, or not, unless you're rich, and that's cool too. But you had to have a job before that.
I wish I was rich. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I wish I was too. I'm rich in love. But if you're working only to please your customer and not pay your bills, does that make sense? Just raise your hand if you're doing that. You know what I'm saying? Not me. You know, yeah, I want to please my customers, but I also got to pay my bills. So what are your thoughts when you hear all this criticism about PBC?
I got to be honest. I think a lot of the criticism is valid. And the reason for that is this. Yeah, I love Jermell Canelo, okay, but like Jermell hasn't fought since May of last year. What's up with that? Spence hadn't fought in like 15 months before he got in the ring with Crawford. What's up with that?
I see points.
A lot of their fighters are sitting out. A lot of their fighters are not that active right now. Activity is a problem. Activity is killing them at the moment. Unfortunately, they're not getting a lot of dates. But I think I might be in the minority in this, but there's a bright side to Paramount and CBS merging together. There's a narrative out there that is being put up for some reason. Is being put out there, and it's a very ignorant narrative. The narrative is Showtime Boxing is going out of business because they don't want it anymore. It's failing, and that's just not true. CBS Corp merged with Paramount. This is bigger than boxing. Like this is two major multi-billion-dollar corporations like merging together. And it's going to be under Paramount Sports now. I think it's going to have a similar model to ESPN Plus. I think we're going to get a lot more of the undercard fights. I think we're going to get a lot more dates for boxing because it's going to be on the Paramount app now. And I think that's going to be better for all of us as boxing fans. It's going to have more accessibility. Paramount Sports plays, they play soccer, tennis, football, college football, you name it. So there's going to be a lot of exposure for sports in general. Boxing will be included. And so I think it's going to be a more active year next year for PBC, in my opinion.
Well, my last comment on this PBC thing is, have they not given us the matchups that we want as of late?
I want Canelo versus Benavidez.
Okay, well, I'm saying as of late, now to date.
Look, I'm hearing you. Crawford Spence.
You're just not satisfied.
I'm not, because I got it 6 years too late.
Ay, hombre. Come on, man. We got it.
Of course I got the fight. No doubt about it. But what I'm saying is, I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, totally, you guys did it. See you in another 6 years. No, like you got to keep it going. Well, and the other thing is this, like, just being honest, bang for my buck, for what I pay and for what I get. ESPN Plus is kicking everybody's ass, in my opinion. We got Loma Haney over there. That was pay-per-view, but it was a discounted price. But that was our only pay-per-view. We've been getting a lot of great fights over there. And I pay a very small amount for ESPN Plus compared to the Zone.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But I'll give you this: PBC is doing better than the Zone.
Okay, all right.
The Zone's over here charging us pay-per-view for fights we don't even want. Like, you know what I mean? So it is what it is. So
that's funny. Yeah, that's funny. So,
but they have given us 3 major events, and No doubt about it. Like the 3 major pay-per-view
Yeah.
events that they're giving us this year.
Yes, they have. You know what? I'm happy with it all. Yeah. I mean, some are better than others, but you know what? We get more boxing now than we have in a long time, so I'm happy. Keeps me going. And
Sure.
I mean, what could we talk about? If they weren't.
That's right.
So
Look, it's look, Canelo going to PBC has opened up a lot of new matchups, so we're about to see them. We just saw one, so we'll go from there. You know what I mean? And that is that.
boxing pound for pound, Jack. Thoughts on Fury Usyk being signed? Ooh, I'm so
Excited about it. Going to be talking about it
We're
more
gonna talk
during the
about
week
another
for
show,
sure.
but I'm excited, honey.
Yeah. That is some big news, and I can't wait. That's a
Me
good one.
neither.
Jai Opataya, I heard, is going to be going to train with Fury, and Jai. I mean, he doesn't fight exactly like Usyk, but he has a lot of Usyk's same traits. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be very interesting. That's telling me he's training. He's already, getting ready for Usyk.
Oh yeah.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited. We'll talk about that on another show for sure. So
Christine.
what you got to say to the chat, and what do you got to tell people out there? What you got coming up?
Well, first of all, shout out to everybody. We appreciate everybody being on here. If you haven't listened to the show, go to the beginning to listen to the whole thing. And of course, next week we'll come back with another topic and go from there. I'm sure a lot of the things you guys are asking about they'll cover it on Women Crushing on Wednesday, and of course I'll be doing HCP on Wednesday with Calex to cover a lot of the big stuff. So make sure you guys tune into those shows. Also, Roundtable this Thursday on Ringside Reporter. Make sure you tune in. Christine, any final lingering thoughts that you may have?
No, I think we covered
Oh,
everything.
actually, before I forget.
Okay.
So I want to do this new thing. As everybody knows, Christine, she's out there with Team USA. She's a coach, right? And she's also seen the pros train, and so she has an idea of what a camp should look like, what preparation should look like. So I'm going to ask you a question, and every week I'm gonna ask you something I've seen, and you tell me if it's effective or it's not effective, etc.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you guys have seen this. That there's these clips of that I've seen, and it gets a lot of people angry, and it does me too, by the way. It's very disturbing to watch, but maybe it's effective. I don't know. I don't know what Christine thinks.
Oh Lord, what am I gonna see?
So and I would play, but I don't want to copyright on your channel.
Okay, no, we don't want that. Just
so I'll just paint a picture for everybody. So like a coach will line up. I'm using that word loosely. Coach will line up like 5 or 7 or more like fighters or whatever, right? Lines them up. They have to be standing squared up, right? They can't move. The trainer puts on some gloves, right? They usually look like 16-ounce gloves, right?
Yeah.
And then they start to punch the defenseless fighter in front of them, right? Headshots, boom, 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 boom. And the more they move, the more they hit them.
Headshots too?
Headshots, body, everything. And they got to take
what is the boxer doing with their hands?
Nothing. Like
what are they doing with their head?
They need to stand straight like this and just get hit. Let themselves get hit, right? So I'm going to be devil's advocate for a moment. So, and he goes one by one, right? Till they all do it. They all got to do it. So maybe I'm trying to figure out what the philosophy is. Is it he's trying to show them how to be tough? You know what I mean? Like, you're going to be tough. You're going to show how tough you are, how much you could take punishment. You know what I mean? And that way, when you're in a fight, the punches don't do shit to you, right? What do you think of that? First of all, have you seen that training strategy on like Instagram and stuff, right? Number one. And second, what do you think of it all around? Like, is it effective? And if not, what should be done with coaches that do stuff like that?
Okay, so let me just get this straight. The boxer is standing there with their hands down. They're not moving their head. Their hands are not up, and they're just getting hit in the head.
Yep.
Okay. I have not seen that. if I have seen it, I would have reported it. It's absolutely ludicrous. It does nothing, absolutely nothing for the boxer. I don't know if the coach that was doing it has little man syndrome and he probably drives a big ass truck to compensate. But I will tell you right now that that is disgusting. And what
Yeah.
should happen? The coach should go to jail. That is abuse. It's
I
stupid.
agree. I agree 100%. First of all, they're not learning anything and doing it. There's some other training. Next week we'll get some. I'll get some photos. I don't want to play the video, but we'll get some photos so you could see it, like what they do. And then there's some other training techniques. Some of them are horrible, right? And some of them they're not good at all. Just quite frankly, and some of them are just like they're not dangerous, but they're like funny and like a waste of time almost. Like you know what I mean? But we'll bring a new one every week and get your thoughts on it. But just wanted to bring that up, and I do agree with you. I think. And the reason I want to do it, I think people need to be educated on what works, what doesn't, and they need to have an idea. Like if there's a kid, if there's a parent out there that wants to take their kid to a boxing gym, or they have to have an idea if they're taking them to the right place, right?
They have to have an idea of boxing, what it's about too. I mean, they really do, because a lot of people have said, "Oh, I thought boxing was just like you just punch each other in the face." Well, it's a technique, it's an art.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of educate yourself before you take your kid to a gym, so that you understand what the concept is, what you're supposed to be doing, and then you have to do research on gyms. You can't just go to the first gym that you see.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Well, I guess Boxing Pound for About Jack said it was to help them avoid flinching. You know,
I mean, that is also very old school, and that's very. I get it. I get it. But
the one
I
I'm talking
personally,
about, they really are hitting. They're
yeah,
like
I mean,
pounding away.
right. I can't condone that at all.
Yeah, it's just
It's
not.
900. You can run it back.
I mean, it is what it is. But I'll go ahead and say this, Christine. Any final words before we wrap this one up?
No, I just want to thank everybody that was in the chat, everybody that tuned in, everybody that liked. Please continue to like and share. And I'm sorry we didn't get to all of the questions. We will try next time, maybe. But they just keep coming, which we love. We love the interaction. Everybody have a good night. Check us out on Wednesday. And D-Style show tomorrow and Thursday.
It'll be Wednesday as well.
Wednesday as well. Same time as me. Not really. And Thursday as well.
That's right. All right. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you were late, there's always archive. Okay. We'll see you guys around. Peace out.
Thank you. Peace.